Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Bismillah, assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. Welcome to another episode of Ask Huda. I'm your host, Omar Dunlap, and we have with us our beloved Sheikh, Dr. Muhammad Salah. Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, jazakallahu khairan, and thank you.
And I would like to remind our viewers of our telephone number, 002-0238-555-248 or 249, or you can email us your questions at ask@huda.tv. Sheikh, our first question here is from Sister Fatima from Egypt. She wants to know, is it okay for a woman to wear pants if she covers the thighs with a long garment?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadihi alladhina istafa. La siyama al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman kathira. I praise Allah alone, and I send the best peace and blessings upon His most beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wa ba'd. What's required for a woman as far as hijab is to wear what covers the entire body and does not show the zina. Any mean of adornment or beautification should be kept for home, to show before her husband. So if a woman is wearing a pair of pants outside, definitely that is revealing the zina. If she's wearing that as a mean of also modesty beneath the outer garment, which is covering her legs, there is no problem in this regard. But showing that before men, which we know that wearing those tight pants reveal, of course, the description and the details of the legs and the thighs and all of that. This is neither permissible for women nor for men, because we're required to cover the awrah. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. We have on the line now Sister Ridwana from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Go ahead, Sister, with your question, please.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Sister, with your question.
Yeah, hello. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, Dr. Sheikh, I have a question regarding the loan.
Okay.
Yeah, one of my family members would like to buy a car, and he has already taken the loan from the office. And from the office, they have said it is the Sharia
compliant.
From that loan they have taken, and they have said that per year for 12 months, and that will be charged for about 850 riyals after the period of 12 months. So my worry, actually, I have been reading Quran, I have been doing my Talimul Quran course, and very well aware of not taking this kind of a riba. So I am quite been worried about this issue. So I would like you to give me this correct ruling of this, as my family members are sitting and hearing this question. I would really appreciate if you could do this now. And what now? If they have taken, then what is the ruling? By the end of the day, we have to Sharia loan. They are saying he's saying Sharia loan, that Hudal riba.
Okay.
Hudal riba.
Okay, we got your question. Jazakallah khair. We have on the line now Sister Sabah. Go ahead, Sister, with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum to you, brother, and to you, Sheikh, too.
Wa alaikum salam.
Jazakallah khair for all the answers that you've earlier given it to me. The question is, this is the question, both the questions are asked by my daughter. So my first question is that when she went to her school and she's doing his, the teachers, she experienced her monthly period. And the teacher said to her that even though you are in your period, you still have to do wudu before you read the Quran. And she said to the teacher that I'm in a state of major impurity, so what is the point in doing the wudu? So she would like to know what is the correct opinion on this matter.
Okay.
My second question is that she has been wearing hijab for a long time, but she would like to know, is her grandparents brothers, and from her mom's side and from her dad's side, that is my uncle from my mom and dad's side and my husband's uncle from his mom and dad's side, are they a mahram for her?
Okay.
And one question, the third question I have is, somebody asked me, what is the opinion about stem cells, about the stem cell research and doing that in Islam? And I didn't have the answer to that. So I just want you to elaborate on that so that I could reply to the person. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair for that question, sister. We could go to Sister Ridwana's question from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. She said that her brother got a loan for a car, but the office he got it from said it is Sharia compliant. What does that mean? What's the ruling on that?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Of course, I cannot give an answer to that specific question because I'm not aware of the contract nor the contents of this contract. But we can always give a general answer and see whether it fits your situation or not. So the general ruling with regards to loans and debts is that كل قرض جر نفعا فهو ربا. A loan that is accompanied with an interest or a profit, that profit, whether it's a lot or a little, is considered as an interest or riba. So if you borrow 80,000 and you have to pay 85 or 90, more or less, as long as it's more than what you paid, then this increase or this extra is riba. Unless if there is a minimal fee for the paperwork and so on, or there is another contract such as partnership based on profit sharing and so on, that for instance the bank and you go into a partnership to buy the car. So the bank buys a share and you buy a share based on your investment in the car, then the value later on will be determined, and if you want to buy your share from the bank, you pay the current value. There is a process that the bank, in addition to some of the Sharia scholars, try to come up with a solution to that. But we need to remember one thing. The main task of a bank is to lend with an interest. I do not know of a bank that will just give you money as a loan for the sake of Allah and will not charge you an interest. That's why when you say, they say this is a Sharia compliant, this is perfectly fine what they say, but in fact what determines is the contract. So since we don't have it, and obviously you can look at it again and you can know the contents and you can consult a local sheikh, but the general answer, if there is a loan, and there is a condition that upon paying the loan, after a while you have to pay more than what you borrowed, then this form and shape is considered riba transaction. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that answer, Sheikh. We have on the line now Sister Nasra from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Go ahead, sister, with your question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What is recommended to be read in the 3 segments of the funeral prayer?
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that question. We have on the line now Sister Aisha from Nigeria. Go ahead, sister, with your question, please. Okay, I think we lost Sister Aisha there. We could go back to Sister Saba's first question. She said that she sends one of her children to school, or one of her daughters to school to one of the parts of that school is reading Quran, one of the things they do there. And one day the girl was in a state of impurity, or maybe she was having her monthly cycle or something to that degree, and the teacher is making her recite the Quran anyway against what the daughter felt was right. So wondering if they could get your opinion on that.
Okay. We said before, according to the vast majority of the fuqaha, that women during their menses can neither touch the Quran nor read it as a mean of worship. Yet, exempt from that is a woman who is either studying the Quran or teaching the Quran. Quranic teacher who goes to school every day and she experiences her monthly period. Then she does not touch the Quran with bare hands. Because it's not only for her, for every junub, everyone who's encountering a major impurity, whether it's a male or a female. But for a female, it's not up to her to seize it. Whether for a male, it's simply he can just, after having an intercourse or having a dream, or he can just take a shower with the intention of ghusl to remove the major impurity. For a woman, she has to wait until the period is over and take the ghusl to remove or lift the major impurity. But for a student who is studying the Quran on a regular basis, or for a teacher, or a woman who has memorized the Quran and she has to revise out of fear of forgetfulness, it is permissible. But that would not allow her to touch the Quran with bare hands. She can wear gloves, for instance, or flip the pages with an eraser of a pencil or something that her hands would not touch the Quran directly. This is something that is, there is almost a general consensus, or at least the vast majority of the scholars agree to that. So now the teacher requires, I just wanted the sister and the daughter feel that it is okay to study the Quran and recite it because you have an excuse that you are studying the Quran, even during the period. With regards to you must perform wudu, now of course you don't have to, but if you do, that's perfectly fine. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after having an intimate relationship with one of his spouse, would go to sleep, but before that he would perform wudu. So having wudu is recommended even though it does not left the major impurity, because the major impurity is still there. It requires ghusl, and that has to be done after the period is ceased or the bleeding stops. But having wudu would not simply allow her to touch the Quran because she's still in a major impurity. Having wudu would not change the fact that she's still in the hayd, and all the restrictions apply there. I can say it is recommended. Yes, it is recommended, but it is not a must.
Okay. Jazakallah khair for that answer, Sheikh. We have on the line now Brother Makbul from the United Arab Emirates. Go ahead, brother, with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh Salah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, sir?
Great, alhamdulillah, thank you for asking.
Yes, sir. So my question is regarding the prayer for women. And during Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam period, women used to come for the masjid, they stand on the second door, they used to pray. But nowadays the masjid is very close by to the women also. They are telling that for us it is better to pray at home. So even though if I say the hadith, they are not accepting, they are referring so many books. They said for women staying even further also, if they pray at home, that will be better for them. Can you please clarify this?
Okay.
Just
Shukran, Maqbool.
Jazakallah khair for that question. We also have a question here from Sister Sabah. She wants to know if uncles are mahram or non-mahram.
Of course, uncles are definitely mahrams, and they are permanent mahrams.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. She also wants to know about stem cell research. What are your thoughts on that?
That requires really an independent episode to discuss it from a scientific point of view, in addition to whether it's Sharia compliant or not. So I prefer issues like that, such as contemporary scientific fiqh issues, to be discussed in the presence of a specialist. It's very, very important to explain to the viewers, if we're talking about organ transplant, if we're talking about blood transfusion, if we're talking about clinical death versus the actual death, or a person is considered or claimed death if the heart stops beating, or if the brain has some damage or total damage. It makes it a lot easier for the person, the viewers, to understand if it is explained from a scientific point of view, and then we see the Sharia ruling on that. So hopefully, inshallah, we can arrange for that with Dr. Ahmed Husni. We can host a specialist and discuss it from both views.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that answer. We have on the line now Sister Aisha from Nigeria. Go ahead, sister, with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is that it is said that Islam does not allow forced marriage, and also that a father has the right to choose a husband for his daughter. So how can I reconcile the two issues?
Okay.
And secondly,
no, wait a minute, Aisha. I did not get the first question. Would you please repeat it?
Okay, the first question is that it is said that a father has the right to choose a wife for his daughter, and
to choose a husband for his daughter.
A husband.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and it is also that Islam doesn't allow forced marriage, to force a daughter into get married.
Okay.
So how can I reconcile the two? Okay, and secondly, I want to publish a book for dua, because I want to compile a dua book for children, and so I want to put some human and animal cartoons for illustrations.
That was answered in the last episode.
Appealing.
Aisha,
Okay.
this question was answered in the last episode.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
as far as this part that a father, does the father have the right to choose for his daughter? This is one of the topmost part of the guardianship, is to assist the daughter or the girl under your guardianship by choosing for her, but not forcing her to marry your choice or the man whom you choose for her. And we also have a pending question in this regard. So Islam does not allow any guardian or any man or any family to force a girl to marry against her will. As a matter of fact, one of the most important pillars or arkan of marriage is qabul. And the first is ijab. When the groom proposes, if she accepts in addition to the agreement or the consensus of the guardian, then marriage is valid and the contract is effective. Obviously, there are other conditions such as the witnesses, the dowry. I'm talking about the most important components. So, if she does not agree, marriage is invalid. And there is a hadith, even though this hadith is not really a very sound hadith, which talks about a woman who came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, "O Messenger of Allah, my father gave me in marriage to his nephew in order to gain worldly gain or and that was against my will." So Nabi ﷺ said, "No, the matter is totally up to you. So if you want to void this marriage, it is your right, as if it did not even happen." She said, "Well, I approve it." He said, "So what was the case then?" She said, "I just wanted every woman to know that and every father to know that it is not for the fathers or the guardians to force the girls who are under their guardianship to marry against their will." And this is a fiqh rule which we all know and fully aware of it. This is a very important thing. But pre-arranged marriage, which the West keep day and night criticizing that the Muslim society, they have the pre-arranged marriage. And as a matter of fact, if you just browse the web, you will find that in the heart of America, in the heart of Europe, there are organizations, churches, and websites and businesses for pre-arranged marriage, where basically they call it matching or soul matching. What do? Is you get the data of that person and that person, and try to match them together and propose. This proposal is halal, isn't it? But it has some rules and guidelines in Islam that you cannot just date and go out and you live together for a year or two to study each other. Then when you decide that you have a good match, you proceed on and you get married. No. This party proposes one person and the other party proposes the other person. They meet in the presence of the family members, for the girl, the guardian. And if they think that there is chemistry, they like each other, this is what I'm looking for, they can proceed on. What's wrong with that? This is what we call it pre-arranged marriage. But there is no forced marriage. In Islam, you do not force any girl to marry against her will. And obviously, nor a boy.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that answer, Sheikh. We have on the line now Sister Huda from the United Arab Emirates. Go ahead, Sister, with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So I have 3 questions. 2 of them... Hello?
Yeah,
We hear you.
Yeah. I have 3 questions. 2 of them is for Hajj and 1 is for corporate banking. My first question is, if I'm willing to send somebody to do Hajj on behalf of my father, who is not alive, should this person have done his own Hajj before?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
He should have done his own Hajj before performing Hajj?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And the second question is, if somebody is working in a conventional bank, but he's going for Hajj from the renters of the property, okay? By taking money from the renters of his property, and but this property was bought from the money of the conventional bank.
Okay, I got your question.
Okay, so is this
I guess
halal?
I got it.
Okay.
And my third question is, like for example, corporate banking. Is this also haram?
Okay.
For financing the trade of the companies?
I guess your second question perhaps answers your third question. Because when you ask that he's working for a conventional bank and you're worried that his Hajj might not be accepted, then you ask in the third question whether it's halal or haram, you're aware that working for any firm or banking or business that deals with interest or an interest-based transaction, it's haram. So number one, Hajjul Badal, or performing Hajj instead of somebody else, requires that the person who is the wakil, the representative, who's performing Hajj on behalf of others, should have performed Hajj on behalf of himself or herself first. It can be a male or a female, in addition to the rest of the conditions. If it is a female, that she must be going with a mahram. Number two, with regards to that somebody is going to perform Hajj from the earning of a rental property, but he may have purchased the property from a money which was earned from riba or whatever. Bottom line is, in the sound hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna Allah Ta'ala tayyibun, la yaqbalu illa tayyiba." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is good. He is the best, and He only accepts that which is good. If anyone offers, this is the same old story of Adam's children, Qabil or Habil, when they were both asked to offer a sacrifice. Qabil offered the worst, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala neglected it and did not accept it from him, while Habil chose the best of his herd and offered it as a sacrifice. So Allah sent a fire, picked it up, and his sacrifice was accepted. Somebody who steals and gives in a charity or builds a masjid, a belly dancer, she keeps committing the haram and deceiving people and seducing youth right and left, and she says, Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah, I never miss a Umrah in Ramadan, and every year I perform Hajj. Such people are really losers. Remember, I'm not naming an individual. What I'm saying is a general ruling, so that they must realize that they're going in the wrong direction. Allah is good, and He only accepts that which is good. In a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, when somebody goes to perform Hajj, and his earning was haram, and his spending in Hajj was haram, he paid for the ticket from haram earning, unlawful earning, then he comes to make talbiyah and say, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. And the talbiyah means, here I come to you, O Allah, to respond to your call, to perform either Umrah or Hajj. Allah will tell him what? La labbaik wa la sa'daik. Zaduka halal. زادك حرام وراحلتك حرام. Your provision is from haram, and your transportation is from haram. How do you expect that your Hajj to be accepted? I'm not trying to make any person despair or lose hope, but this is a fact. It's a fact. If you know that, if you know somebody invites me for a drink and for food, and I know that he's working somewhere where his earning is absolutely haram. You know what he told me? When I said, no, thank you, I don't want any, I'm full, I just ate. He said, I know you don't want to eat from the food which I bought from my money because you believe it's haram, and I believe it's haram too. But wallahi, this is from another source of income. I'm renting a car or something, and this is from halal. So everybody, or most of the time, those who are working in haram, they perfectly know that they're working in haram. And that's why I'm not going to answer your third question, because you already answered it by asking the second question. Those who are going for Hajj, if you already purchased the ticket, and this is all the money you got, go ahead and go for Hajj. But do me a favor, and also do yourself the biggest and the best favor in your life, which is make this Hajj a turning point in your life. Repent unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, and when you drink from Zamzam water, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to feed you only from halal, and to make you feed your family from halal sources. And on the day of Arafah, repent and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to wipe away all your past sins, and make a strong covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that even if you end up eating dirt, you're not going to work in this field anymore. Whether it's a conventional bank or you name it. Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on him, and you all know that my major was Hanafi. So I know a lot about this great Imam. I was in the market because he was a big merchant, not just an Imam. He used to sell silk, and he saw somebody stealing from a basket. A woman was carrying a basket with fruits to sell it in the market, so he grabbed hold of one of the fruits and he stole it. So he followed him and he said, "Why did you do that?" He said, "What?" He said, "You just stole. This is stealing." He said, "But you don't know what I'm doing with it." The thief was arguing with Imam Abu Hanifa. I said, "What are you going to do with it?" He said, "I stole it in order to give it away in a charity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives 10 times more reward for those who give one thing in a charity. So when I give it in a charity, Allah will give me 10 good deeds, and He will deduct one for that sin which I committed, which is stealing." He said, "You're such a foolish person. And how do you know that Allah will accept that deed from the beginning? What made you think that it is considered accepted? It is not accepted from the beginning because it is from haram." May Allah protect us against feeding ourselves or family members from haram.
Yeah, subhanAllah. Jazakallah khair for that answer, Sheikh. We have on the line now Brother Abdullah from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Go ahead, brother, with your question, please. Brother Abdullah. Okay, I think we lost Brother Abdullah there. We have also Sister Amar on the line. Go ahead, sister, with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.
Jazakumullah khair, and Sheikh Salah, may Allah have mercy on all of us and accept our dua and our deeds. I had a question. Is it permissible or is it okay if someone goes to a farm and you pay for the produce? This farm is a ginger farming, and then you go there and pay for the produce even though they have not been harvested yet. Is this permissible to do? You're not buying the land. You're just paying for anything that's going to come out of that farm for the season. That's the question I had to ask.
If it is ripe and ready to be harvested, if it is ripe and ready to be harvested, but if it is before ripening, we don't know. I just read in the news that thousands of acres of tomato were completely destroyed overnight. A small worm, and this is, by the way, a wrath from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should really pay attention to that. We think it is the weather, we think it is that we did not really spread pesticide or this is an anger from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should review our relationship with Allah and try to reconcile. So purchasing something that is already ripe and has a known amount, which is called through al-khars, approximate estimate, is okay. But by guessing before the field or the crops are ripe, no, it is not.
Okay. Jazakallah khair for that answer, Sheikh. We're going to take a quick break, so don't go anywhere, inshallah. You're watching Ask Huda.
Hajj in the Quran. Hajj is the fifth pillar of Islam and one of the most important acts of worship for Muslims.
The journey of Hajj is a clear practice to the believers so that they come back from the journey of Hajj with the pillar of Islam being perfected. Almost every place on the face of earth, every corner of the world, you would have a representative of that place coming to Hajj. From the east and the west and from north and south, every single race you would find in the journey of Hajj. nothing would be pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unless we follow the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in every major and minor thing. From all corner of the world. And this is the sign that everybody's coming for the same cause, for the same purpose. They are united, going to Hajj for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the first place of worship, the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Mecca, blessed and guidance to all mankind and all that exists. Complete the Hajj and the Umrah. Lillah, meaning for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone.
Join Sheikh Ibrahim Zidan as he examines the meaning, wisdom, and essence of Hajj by examining its relevance in the Quran.
Huda, a light in every home.
Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. Welcome back to today's episode of Ask Huda. I would like to remind our viewers of our telephone number 002-0348-555-248 or 249, or you can email us at ask@huda.tv. We have on the line now Sister Ahmadi from Qatar. Go ahead, Sister, with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa
alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I want to ask a question. I want to ask for dua for my sister's son.
Okay.
This is regarding my sister's son. He is now 34 years old, and he got engaged 2 times and broken. And my request is to tell any dua to get him suitable spouse.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Wa jazakum. We have a pending question from Sister Zainab from Nigeria. She said that she watched a BBC documentary about Islam, and she found that it was biased against Islam and Muslims, and made her feel somewhat depressed. And she wants to know, how should we feel about raising our children, or what should we do about raising children in a world that seems to be corrupt and this sort of thing?
Before I answer this question, I would like to quote a couple of ahadith to support my answer of the last question before the break. Anas ibn Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam نهى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن بيع العنب حتى يسود وعن بيع الحب حتى يشتد. And in another hadith which is collected by both al-Bukhari and Muslim, Anas also radiyallahu ta'ala anhu ardah narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in an explanation as why should it be prohibited to sell the crops before they appear and they're ripe. He said, أَرَأَيْتَ إِذَا مَنَعَ اللَّهُ الثَّمَرَةَ بِمَا يَأْخُذُ أَحَدُكُمْ مَالَ أَخِيهِ. What do you think if that you planted a field and you expect that much crops to come out of this field, and it wouldn't come? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroyed the field. So on what basis will you justify that the money you've taken from that person? You stole them something that does not exist. Islam prohibits what's known as al-gharar. نهى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن بيع الغرر. بيع الغرر, which is trading in something that's not certain, such as somebody who's going fishing in the morning. He meets somebody and says, where are you up to? I'm going fishing. Okay, I would like to buy all the fish that you will catch today. Fine with me, no problem. Okay, here is $100 bill for all the fish that you catch today. Such transaction is invalid. Why? What if he doesn't catch any? What if he only catches one fish? What if he catches a ton of fish? On what basis that you paid the $100? So you say, I will buy what you collect with the average market price. So you trade in بيع معلوم, in وزن معلوم, أو كيل معلوم, and in a known weight or measure. But haphazardly, that leads to fight and confusion. Now, the sister said about watching on the BBC or on the CNN or obviously Fox News as well, or many channels who have nothing to do but stereotype and attack Islam and Muslims day and night. Every once in a while they may produce or air a fair program, but overall that Muslims do not really have this chance or opportunity to express themselves. There are very outspoken Muslim scholars, Muslim scientists, whether in NASA or in every field, by the grace of Allah. The most successful physicians, heart transplant physicians, are Muslims. As far as I know, at least in America, many of my colleagues whom were working with very successful professionals. We don't have this opportunity and that chance to inform people at large about Islam. We have very limited access, and that's why whenever any of the local channels or international channels or national TV wanted to interview us, will be very careful. For instance, I used to require that whatever I say in the interview has to be aired as it, without editing, and I make sure that I would record mine, because they will cut and paste, take things out of context, because they are not dedicated to serve Islam. They are not about giving da'wah to people and telling them this is Islam and this is the beauty of Islam. The solution is in counter-attacking that by having our own media, right? Having a channel such as Huda TV or Peace or Islam Channel, the entire Ummah has to support such channels, support them in order to produce also programs in French, in Dutch, in Hindu, in every main or major language. This is a way of giving da'wah. Sitting, crying and saying, blaming others that they're producing programs to attack us and we cannot do anything, it's our fault. Muslims are very rich. Those guys are sitting on oil wells and producing millions every day and wasting those millions here and there, and wasting it, especially in the stock market. They get up one day in the morning and say, oops, in Wall Street I lost everything, because that money was not yours and it not really invested properly. So I feel a lot of pain when this wound is scratched or uncovered. When somebody talks about that, I hope and I pray, and of course that doesn't happen overnight, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not change the condition of people unless if they work hard in order to change it to the best. But those who just pray and wish without doing anything, without being proactive, will get nothing. You have to plant the seeds, and you have to take care of it and clean up the field in order to produce a harvest, and you eat out of it. Sitting there and saying, oh, Allah produced the fruits for me, you did not plant the seed to begin with. Somebody was making dua, oh Allah, give me a good child, oh Allah, give me a boy, oh Allah, give me a boy. And the Imam said, Ameen. So the worker in the masjid said, don't tell him Ameen. He will never get a boy nor a girl. He said, why would you say such thing? He said, he's not even married. You need first to get married, right? In order to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you a child. Our children, alhamdulillah wa shukrullah, are much more lucky than us in the past, because we used to express that by participating in exhibitions or writing small articles. Nowadays the internet is an excellent field to give da'wah, and is a wonderful field to create your own blog and to interact with others and to express yourselves. More and more people going into the websites and the internet and the blogs, more than just watching the news. And if few families can gather together and call one of those Islamic channels or educational channels, say, we'd like to sponsor a program that will refute misconceptions, sponsor a program to speak about science in Islam, a program to speak about the history of Palestine, a program to speak about Muslims in Spain, a program to speak about Muslim pioneers in science, in math, in algebra, in. These are many proactive solutions that you can do. Well, if you don't have the fund, nor can you participate with others to produce something like that, you can just make dua. Wallahu alam.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that answer, Sheikh. We have on the line now Sister Sabah from the United Arab Emirates. Go ahead, Sister, with your question, please.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
To Sheikh Salah and Brother Umar, Jazakallah khairan for hosting this program as well as answering these questions with patience and a lot of your advice, good advice. May Allah Ta'ala, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, elevate your rank in paradise. Sir, I have 3 questions for you. One is that I have not been well for a long time. It's almost been 3 years.
Shafaki Allah wa afaki.
And I was wanting to know that if I probably would change my house, would that have any good effect on my health?
Okay.
That is one. Second is, do you think I should change my name since my name is Sabah? Would that have any positive effect on my health? And the third question is that if I change my house, so before going into another house, is there anything that I should perform, like any religious rite or read Surah Baqarah and anything, like I don't know whether this ruling is correct in Islam or what. I just wanted your advice for this. So these are my 3 questions, and I'll be really grateful, sir, if you could answer it in this episode. I've been waiting for a long time.
Okay. Do you have any pending calls?
We have one pending call.
After this, inshallah, will answer Sister Sabah.
Inshallah. We have Brother Hadi on the line now. If you could go ahead with your question, brother. Brother Hadi, are you there? Okay, I guess we lost him, so we can't answer her questions.
Sister Sabah, I begin by asking Allah to give you a quick recovery and a shifa. May Allah give you shifa. أسأل الله العظيم رب العرش العظيم أن يشفيك. And I hope the viewers will join me in saying Amin. Amin. Second of all, you neither need to change your house nor change your name. They have nothing to do with your health being deteriorated or being healthy, unless if you don't feel comfortable at this house. In this case, you're most welcome to change it. But Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "La adwa wa la tiyara." We're not pessimistic. We do not believe in bad omens. Only if you don't feel like it, staying in such place, you don't feel happy, you feel it might have something to do with your disturbance of peace, or you don't have a peace of mind in that place, you're most welcome to change it. But you don't believe a house or anything would have anything to do with your qadr or your destiny. This is one thing. The third thing, which is that diseases, illness and suffering for the believers is not necessarily a bad thing. It can be a great thing. The Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ إِذَا أَحَبَّ عَبْدًا ابْتَلَاهُ. Can you believe that? Yes. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, indeed, if Allah loves one of His servants, He will try him. He will test him. With what? You're tested with some health problems. But guess what? You can pick up the phone, you can see us, and you can talk to us. There are other people who lost their sight, or they cannot talk anymore, or paralyzed totally. So when I compare myself to those who are in worse conditions, I turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, Allahumma laka alhamd. Thank you, Allah. At least I'm still talking. At least I'm still breathing. At least I can pray and bow down and prostrate myself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so on. You need to compare yourself to those who are less fortunate than you. Others may have been tested in their wealth. They have not seen prosperity. They are always in a condition of adversity, poverty. Somebody who's very religious, who prays on time, he has a bunch of kids, and he's got laid off. And he doesn't have a great deal of provision, and he's struggling to make it up. He's living hand to mouth. Shouldn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala love him? He loves him. But love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not necessarily mean that He will make him the richest, or make him a rich person and a healthy person. If this is the case, then the person should have enjoyed his life most would be Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he was the most beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will continue to test and try His beloved ones to purify them from their sins, so that when they meet Him on the Day of Judgment, they will meet Him without any sins. They don't have to go through any reckoning or questioning, and this is a great status. Last but not the least, the Prophet ﷺ said in one hadith, in a sound hadith, ما يصيب المؤمن أو المسلم من هم ولا نصب ولا حزن حتى الشوكة يشاكها إلا كتب له بها أجرا وإلا كفر الله له بها من خطاياه. You know, when we know this hadith, when I was in my worst conditions, of health conditions, once I remember this hadith, I just smile. I just feel very, very happy. And whenever, I'm not saying that I'm that good person, but sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps people to reflect on either the verses of Allah or the statements of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the purpose of the revelation: to learn, to ponder, to reflect, and to comply, to act upon it. He said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is nothing that touches a believer of any afflictions, of any sort of poverty, adversity, health problems, or death of beloved ones, even if it is as little as a small thorn that can penetrate your skin or hurt you. For being patient for that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raises your ranks and pardons some of your sins until you meet Him subhanahu wa ta'ala with no sins at all. So I guess a combination of all what I said can make you feel comfortable. Meanwhile, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah did not create any disease, because diseases are also created by Allah to test His servants, or also as means of punishment. But He created for it the proper treatment. So تداووا عباد الله, seek remedy. فما جعل الله من داء إلا وجعل له دواء. And furthermore, الرقية, frequently. And you just said recite certain surahs. Yes, recite Surah Al-Baqarah if you can on daily basis. These are all means of asking Allah for a quick recovery.
Jazakallah khair for that answer, Sheikh. We have on the line now Brother Saleh from Switzerland. Go ahead, brother, with your question, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My question is, my country of origin, our president there, he used to have free Hajj package to the poor, an amount of 200 yearly. So, but he do the same to the opposite as the Christians. So this is what I want to know, if that is okay or not. And the other question is about saying Assalamu alaikum to non-Muslims, because at my place of work we are 3 Muslims there and the rest is non-Muslims. So the two, they said that yes, you can say Assalamu alaikum. You don't just have to say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, but Assalamu alaikum to a non-Muslim is allowed. So me, what I know is not allowed. So can you please clarify this for me, if possible, because tomorrow I'm going to work, so I have to tell them an answer, please.
Okay. Your first question, brother, what could you reword your first question for me?
The first question is, let's say, in my country of origin, our president, the head of state, he paid for the poor an amount of 200 or more people to go for the Hajj, free of charge. And he do the opposite to the Christians also. He pay for the Christians, I don't know, to go to Rome, something like that. So I want to know whether that is something halal for the side of the Christians.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I got it. Jazakallah khair. Would you like to go ahead and address that
Sure.
question?
The second question first, which is greeting a non-Muslim. You can greet a non-Muslim by saying, hi, good morning, what's up, how are you, how are you doing? All of that is okay. But the greeting of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh is the greeting of Ahlul Jannah, is the greeting of Islam, and that is very special for Muslims. Well, if some non-Muslim greeted with Assalamu alaikum, I would just say wa alaikum assalam as well. Okay, there is no problem with that. He said Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I may say wa alaikum, or I may say wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُم بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا أَوْ رُدُّوهَا. If you've been greeted by a greeting, then reply with one which is best, or at least reply with a similar one. But beginning a non-Muslim with the greeting of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, no. But you greet the non-Muslim by any of their own greetings, which fits them perfect. There is no problem in that. When you meet a gathering of Muslims, and amongst them non-Muslims, they say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is this okay? Perfectly okay. I'm greeting Muslims, and he is just sitting amongst Muslims. So I don't really have to specify and say Assalamu alaikum to you, but not Assalamu alaikum to them. You're greeting the Muslims. And those who told you can only say Assalamu alaikum, begin by saying Assalamu alaikum, not the rest of the greeting. That has no origin.
Okay. And his first question, the country, he said the leader of his home country used to have a free Hajj package for the poor, but they would also do that for other religions. Is that something that's okay?
Well, would my answer change the policy of the country? Of course not.
Right.
So you're asking a question concerning if you are as an individual, can you do anything about it? Somebody's offering me a free Hajj package and I'm eligible for it, take it. And if they have one for me, please give me a call.
Okay. Jazakallah khair for your answers, and thank you for being with us today. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's Ask Huda, but I would like to remind our viewers of our email address so that you can send us your questions, which is ask@huda.tv. And for those of you who would like to support Huda TV with a financial contribution, you can email us at support@huda.tv. Until next time, I'm your host, Omar Dunlap, wishing you peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.